Don't take the bait, world events. Greetings and trust you are well. I have not put up a world events video now for a few months. I deliberately made sure to not discuss politics on this channel. It was always about world events and the dream visions in line with the seer mentioned.
We are going to have a fireside chat this evening, so if you like you can pull out the vors, marshmallows or whatever you would like to braai. I suggest not using anything sharp while braaiing, especially if your LCD monitor is in front of you. Also no drinking and driving.
I'm going to take a different approach with this video series. I never script the videos nor go back and edit what is written out. This series is going to be a little different.
I am not going to write everything in one sitting. If I did that, I would be sitting in a chair for about 8 to 12 hours writing.
This has been a huge undertaking to write this. It has been one of the most draining weeks I have felt to try convey what I wish to convey while walking a tightrope. It has been a real drain. I highly doubt I will attempt to make one of these any day soon. The dream visions, should I have one, will be put up, but these world event updates are draining. Remember, you do not have to like what I say, nor agree. I never ask you to like nor subscribe to the video. Listen with an open mind, reject what you do not like. Perhaps you see something from a different perspective. If in doubt, you can always pray for the answer. So this series has taken me more than 14 hours to write and edit to make sure it fits together. I need a break after this series. I could not sit in a chair for a 14 hours marathon, which is longer than the Comrades Marathon, so I broke it up. I cannot write non-stop for 14 hours, so I intend to add a little bit each day to this writing.
Where it goes I have no idea. I have a few ideas of what I would like to discuss, but how that all ties in, well, I will do my best.
Due to new people coming to the channel, I will discuss some past dreams, new insights and visions I have had which I did not put up yet on the channel.
It may happen that I see something else during the week while writing this, and some events may be playing out which I will discuss.
Actually, this portion is edited, and on the 23rd of August the 1st did see something which is mentioned below. The title of the video is discussed in the final portions of this video. I was not going to have a title until the events of what happened with AfriForum's court case took place. So I have called this series Do Not Take the Bait. I think that final portion of the video is the most important video put up on the channel to date in terms of discussing world events. This is going to be a long series. I think probably the longest and also one of the most important this year, since there are only 4 months left in the year and many things are now taking place around the world.
So where do we begin? Let me think. As I type this, the date is Monday the 22nd of August, the year 2022. Each day I will attempt to write this out and produce the video over the weekend. First, we are now approaching the last quarter of this year, and according to the timeline Dream Vision, all will be fulfilled by December 2022.
Again,
I do not know if this means all the pieces are in place and the stage is set now that they
are all playing out to their completion, or if many of the major things will take place in this time frame. A lot can happen in 3 to 4 months.
For example, in January the world was only dealing with the virus and lockdowns, but by the end of February Russia had gone into Ukraine, and we see what is transpiring in Europe.
I mentioned I saw Europe, it becomes poor, and that it looked like something from a Charles Dickens novel, only to put the comment online and 3 days later. This is exactly what Gordon Brown, former Prime Minister of Britain, said that was featured on RT News Network. I expect within the next few months leading into next year we are going to see many of the things the seer said quickly come to pass.
From what we see taking place in the world with inflation, Europe's crisis, the war in Ukraine, and it would not surprise me if that nuclear power plant goes off in Europe.
It could very well be those flashes I saw go off in Europe. At the same time, the spotlight is on South Africa with Cyril Ramaphosa on the world stage.
The entire saga with Cyril Ramaphosa is not over. In fact, that thing has not even begun.
You see how the dream vision of increased xenophobia picked up shortly after I mentioned it and how things are unraveling in accordance with what the seer said. The glow of fire over Johannesburg is going to pick up as the seer mentioned, where they will leave one location only to arrive and have to flee in a new direction.
Each time with fires going up behind them.
But I want to discuss this in detail later on. For now, let's go back in time. For now, let's discuss quickly some major world events unfolding over the past week. I will not go into full detail about each event, you can search online for yourself to verify it. The war in Ukraine is about to reach new levels. Russia is planning a massive military operation in Ukraine now to bring the war to an end. France and Turkey are now in an open spat, a tit-for-tat type of war. Later on in the video you will see how this week after praying I had a vision about France and Turkey. Inflation woes are only getting worse. We hear reports of Israel and America wanting to attack Iran. Turkey continues to buy military equipment from Russia. Iran is supplying drones now to Russia.
Egypt has purchased these Iranian drones, I believe, from Russia now.
Turkey continues to escalate in the Mediterranean Sea, all the while playing the West and Russia. Saudi Arabia is dropping the dollar for their oil and now pricing it in Chinese yuan. This is why I believe they will also be here eventually to protect the gold fields. It would be an easy way to go back to the gold standard if they needed to, while at the same time prevent the gold fields, minerals further falling into the hands of China and Russia. The result of this is the following. Listen what France says and then listen to the vision I had earlier this week. I believe it was the 23rd of August 2022. A new conflict broke out between France and Turkey, this time on the occasion of Emmanuel Macron's statements from Algeria. The French president said that there are networks of political Islam activists supported by some countries, including Turkey, and targeting France. You will hear about this vision later on and how this ties in. These statements from France and its spat with Turkey were mentioned on Saturday the 28th of August 2022.
The seer mentioned he saw a blue stone grinding, and that's something to do with Germany and Islam. I think it is along these lines and ties in with events unfolding with Turkey and the migrants in Europe.
Today the 28th of August 2022, Russia handed over the corridor between Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Lichin Corridor. Many people are scratching their heads over this since Russia controlled this corridor separating the Nagorno-Karabakh, which is the breakaway region in Azerbaijan. That region found in Azerbaijan, which is Armenian, has supply lines to Armenia via Lachin or Lichin Corridor.
Without the corridor which Russia controlled, nothing goes in or out of Nagorno-Karabakh, and as a result Azerbaijan will control this area and it will be forever lost to Armenia. Some say the result of this was that Armenia was pro-Western and working against Russia.
So Russia just handed over this corridor to Azerbaijan to control, and remember the Rand dream is connected to Azerbaijan. I have mentioned a few times since the dream vision.
Watch events in Azerbaijan and South Africa.
Up until that dream, if you offered me $1 million and asked me to point out these two countries on a map, I would not have been able to point them out to you.
I knew nothing about either country until the dream vision. The dream vision points to a fact that both South Africa and Azerbaijan are on the same flight path with the destination of war and conflict. The discussion I had with the person on the flight in the dream when he said they were in a war but their currency
is stronger than ours points to a scenario that the war there, despite the conflict, will see their currency being stronger than ours. When it happens in South Africa, it will not be due to conflict.
He laughed and said to me, "Look here," while showing me a newspaper. He said something along the lines of, "We were in a war but your currency is worse than ours."
When I saw the front page newspapers of this, South Africa was their front page about the currency collapsing.
Today the troops of Azerbaijan have entered the corridor to take it back, which points out to a new conflict. Russia is opening many fronts now for the West, setting up fires to keep them and the United Nations occupied.
Serbia is on the brink of war, and with an overwhelmed United Nations, we have to be on our guard here in South Africa. If anything happens here, if the fires break out, no one will be in a position to assist nor even give us attention, but this itself presents an opportunity. When opportunity knocks, you must know how to take advantage of it. When the RAND collapses, they lose power, all of it.
They will be naked, and when this happens, the seer's words which I have mentioned in previous videos will play out.
You can go back and watch those, this time you will do it differently. It will be when the RAND collapses. The Taiwan situation continues to pick up.
We have reports coming out today that Angola will join the Russian payment system, bypassing the SWIFT interbank market, and we will more than likely see more African nations join.
Remember, I said I see China going into the northern portion of Angola and India taking Mozambique.
This is why we will feel the influence in South Africa, as the seer mentioned. They are now attempting to colonize Africa.
The Chinese taking the oil, they will control the oil while selling it using the new Russian payment system. We have major war games of Iran, Venezuela, numerous Latin American countries, Russia, China, India and some other countries all doing or playing their war games in Venezuela. Serbia is picking up. On the Odyssey channel I put videos up of tanks being rolled out to take Kosovo, to enter into Kosovo, and that conflict will be brewing and flare up. The British are letting their soldiers know that they should let their families know they will be deployed to Ukraine. This is a giant mistake on their part.
Belarus has just gotten nuclear weapons for their jets from Russia.
Today, former President and Deputy President of Russia Dmitry Medvedev has announced we're approaching an Armageddon situation with the war in Ukraine, and while typing this, I had a giant spider run up my leg, yuck. Just a side note, but getting back to Russia, they're about to hit Ukraine hard. America issued a statement that every single US citizen should leave Russia immediately. Russia has been shelling Ukraine with weapons with the name of the daughter of that Russian writer Dugin, whose daughter was killed in a car explosion, assassinated by Ukrainians. So the missiles they were firing into Ukraine had her name on them. There was an attempted assassination of a key Russian head of the Duma, Russia's parliament. This will only intensify the war now that Russian politicians are being targeted in assassination attempts. We have the first part of the dream fulfilled about the electric tornado, which is the last video put on the channel.
The incident which took place in Limpopo province, just as the dream showed.
Remember, in the dream vision, there were 2 lightning strikes. The first one was loud, that I believe was what took place with the Zama Zamas, with the raping of those women during the music video film shoot. It ties into the other dreams about increased xenophobia. Then there was a second lightning strike in the dream, and as the lightning strike hit the ground, a massive tornado rose up, an American-style one which came our way. It moved in our direction. It involved something with Zimbabwe as mentioned in the dream. But this lightning and the tornado was worse than the first strike, since it caused a tornado but no one paid attention.
So the tornado is the aftermath of the lightning strike.
The 2 lightning strikes revolved around foreigners in the country. The first strike was the Zama Zamas, the second one is also about illegal immigrants, but it will cause more destruction, and the dream showed that in time, or perhaps soon,
South Africa will stop allowing the use of Zimbabwe dollars. It could also mean that our currency during this time becomes worthless.
The attacks in Syria by Israel continue, with Russia now issuing warnings. American bases have come under attack by Iran, and America has now hit targets. In other words, all these things taking place all point to the fact that we are in the early